In our fourth installment, we're turning the spotlight onto a character who is, in many ways, the novel's moral center, the one and only Joe Gargery. He's Pip's brother-in-law, a simple blacksmith, and perhaps one of the most genuinely good characters in all of literature. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore the simple goodness and unwavering loyalty of Joe. From the very beginning, Joe Gargery stands in stark contrast to the harsh world Pip inhabits. He's the warmth in the cold forge, the gentle hand in a house ruled by Pip's domineering sister, Mrs. Joe. Dickens describes him as a fair man, with curls of flaxen hair, and with eyes of such a very undecided blue that they seem to have somehow got mixed with their own whites. This isn't just a physical description. It paints a picture of a man who is open, transparent, and perhaps a little naive to the world's cruelties. He's a gentle giant, a mild, good-natured, sweet-tempered, easygoing, foolish, dear fellow. It's this innate kindness that makes him Pip's first and truest friend. Joe's home life is anything but easy. She's described as raising both Pip and her husband by hand, a phrase that speaks volumes about her abusive and controlling nature. Yet, Joe never complains. He endures her tirades and her weapon of choice, the tickler, with a quiet stoicism. This tolerance isn't a sign of weakness. It's a testament to his immense capacity for loyalty and his desire to maintain peace for Pip's sake. He creates a pocket of safety for the young boy in a home that is often anything but safe. His relationship with Pip is the heart and soul of the early chapters. Joe isn't just a brother-in-law, he's the father figure Pip so desperately needs. He's Pip's confidant, his protector, his fellow sufferer. Remember those little acts of rebellion? Joe sneaking Pip extra gravy at the dinner table, a small but powerful gesture of alliance against Mrs. Joe's tyranny. He silently takes the blame for Pip's supposed misdeeds, absorbing the blows meant for the boy. Joe sees Pip not as a burden, but as his dear old chap, his equal partner in navigating the often stormy seas of their household. This unconditional love forms the bedrock of Pip's childhood, a foundation he will later tragically take for granted. Joe's wisdom isn't found in books or fancy speeches, it's rooted in simple, unshakable truths. While Pip starts getting tangled in the web of Satis House and the dream of becoming a gentleman, Joe remains his moral compass. His pronouncements are straightforward and powerful. Instead, he delivers a simple, profound lesson. Lies is lies. Hows'ever they come, they didn't ought to come. It's a beautifully simple moral code. For Joe, right is right and wrong is wrong, and no amount of social ambition or complicated circumstance can change that. This is a truth that Pip, in his desperate climb up the social ladder, will spend years struggling to relearn. Now, let's be honest, Joe is not what you'd call a scholar. He struggles with literacy, admitting quite plainly, "I don't spell it at all," when Pip asks about his name. But what Joe lacks in formal education, he more than makes up for in humility and a genuine respect for learning. He doesn't see Pip's education as a threat. In fact, he encourages it. He sits by the fire, puffing on his pipe, trying to absorb the knowledge Pip shares. He celebrates Pip's ability to read and write, seeing it as a path to a better life, even if it's a life far removed from his own at the forge. His willingness to learn alongside Pip, to be the student to Pip's teacher, is incredibly touching and shows a man completely free of ego. This lack of pretense is also what makes him so gloriously out of place in high society. The scene where Pip takes Joe to Satis' house is both comical and heartbreaking. Dressed in his stiff Sunday best, Joe is described as looking like an extraordinary bird, uncomfortable, and speechless, unable to even address Pip directly, instead speaking through him to Miss Havisham. He can't pretend to be something he's not. He is a blacksmith, a man of the forge, and he is utterly, authentically himself. While Pip is mortified by this, we as readers see the truth. Joe's awkwardness is a sign of his genuineness, a quality that is sorely lacking in the world Pip so desperately wants to join. This brings us to one of the most painful parts of the story, Pip's snobbery and his neglect of Joe. As Pip becomes a gentleman in London, he grows ashamed of his humble origins, and by extension, ashamed of Joe. He dreads Joe's visits, cringing at his manners and his common speech. It's a brutal betrayal. Yet Joe's love remains unshakable. His affection is not conditional on Pip's behavior or social status. Joe's forgiveness, which comes much later, is a monumental act of grace. He never holds Pip's cruelty against him, demonstrating a capacity for love that is almost superhuman. The climax of their relationship arrives when Pip is sick, broken, and in debt. Who is it that comes to his rescue? Not the wealthy patrons or the fancy friends, but Joe. He travels to London, nurses Pip back to health with the same gentle care he showed him as a child, and even pays off his debts. It's a powerful full-circle moment. He simply expresses his pure joy at having his dear old chap back. It is through this act of selfless devotion that Pip is finally able to see the truth. He realizes that the great expectations he was chasing were hollow, and that the greatest treasure he ever had was Joe's unconditional love. This is the moment Pip's real moral education begins. Joe's final significant appearance is filled with a quiet, profound dignity. He visits Pip one last time, recognizing that their worlds are now fundamentally different. Instead, he offers one of the most beautiful parting observations in the novel. Life is made of ever so many partings welded together. And one man's a blacksmith, and one's a whitesmith, and one's a goldsmith, and one's a coppersmith. Divisions among such must come. And one man's a blacksmith, and one's a whitesmith, and one's a goldsmith, and one's a coppersmith. Divisions among such must come. In the end, Joe Gargery is more than just a kind-hearted blacksmith. He is the moral bedrock of Great Expectations. While Pip spends most of the novel rejecting everything Joe stands for, he ultimately comes to understand that Joe's simple goodness is the truest and most valuable quality a person can possess. Joe's unwavering love is the force that ultimately saves Pip, guiding him toward redemption and a genuine understanding of what it means to be a true gentleman. Thank you so much for joining me today to celebrate the wonderful character of Joe Gargery. He truly is one of a kind. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and make sure you are resubscribed so you don't miss the next part of our series. Until next time, keep reading.